right, we're about to start part 2 of the Math 150 Unit 4 practice test for Miss Meador's class. Number 11 looks really confusing because the variables are in the denominator. But what we're going to do is we want to stack these two equations on top of each other and use elimination. We're going to have common denominators, so it should make our life a little bit easier. So let's see what we got here. So I'm going to call this equation 1 and this equation 2. And first thing I notice is this is negative 4 over y. This is positive 8 over y. If one was negative 8 over y and the other was positive 8 over y, the y's would cancel. So what we're going to do, I want this 4 to become 8. So I'm going to multiply by 2. But I can't just multiply the 4 by 2. I got to multiply the whole equation by 2. Okay, so I'm going to have a new equation 1 over here. So 2 times 7 is going to be 14 over x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8 over y. And 2 times 7 is going to be 14 over 3. So I multiplied the whole first equation by 2. In the second equation, I'm not going to multiply by anything. I'm just going to rewrite the equation. All right, so now I'm going to add vertically, and what happens, see what happened was, negative 8 over y plus 8 over y, those cancel. And when you add 14 over x minus 1 over x, you keep the denominator x, and you add 14 plus a negative 1 is going to be 13 over x. Equals, now over here we got to add 14 over 3, and let's use the calculator here for a second. So to make a fraction, hopefully you know you go alpha y equals. Let me clear out here. Alpha y equals number 1. And we have 14 over 3. I'm not sure if that's going to mess me up, so let me move that over. And then I got minus 59 over 21, or you can say plus a negative. I'm just going to say minus alpha y equals 59 over 21. And press enter. And we get 13 over 7. Now look what happens. Oops. So when you do that, you got 13 over 7, I think it was. Well, look at the two equations. 13 over x equals 13 over 7. I guess x equals 7. That wasn't too bad. All right, if that wasn't obvious, like if the two numerators weren't the same, you would cross multiply and solve. So it would be 13 times x equals 13 times 7, which would be 91, and then you would divide by 13, and that is 7. But it's pretty obvious. If two fractions equal each other and their numerators are the same, their denominators have to be the same. Now that's just x. To find y, you got to plug it back into one of your equations. So I'm going to take my first equation, and where there was an x, I'm going to put 7. So 7 over x, x is 7, minus 4 over y equals 7 over 3. Well, 7 over 7 is 1. And now we got to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. All right, 1 minus 1 cancels. I'm left with negative 4 over y. 7 thirds minus 1, let's see, that's 7 thirds minus 3 thirds, that's 4 thirds. All right, so I'm going to cross multiply because the numerators are not the same here. It's negative 4 and positive 4. So I'm going to say y times 4, which is 4y, equals negative 12 when you cross multiply, and then divide by 4, and you get y equals negative 3. So when x is 7, y is negative 3, and that's your ordered pair, your solution. All right, question number 12 says solve the problem using a system of equations in two variables. Find two numbers whose sum is 21 and whose product is 98. So we have two numbers. That means we got to have two equations. A sum means add. So if you add some number x plus some number y, it equals 21. The second equation is about a product. The product of those two numbers, the product, when you multiply x times y, you get 98. Now, some of y'all might do this in your head and be like, all right, what times what gives you 98? And list all the factors and see which one has a sum of 21. That's actually probably the easiest thing to do here. So let's list the factors of 98. 1 in 98. 2 in what? You're like, I don't know. Well, get the calculator out. Where did my calculator go? Let's see. It was just right there. I'll just have to do it the long way. All right, so here we go. 98 divided by 2 is 49. All right, let's see. 98 divided by 3 I don't think works. Nope. 98 divided by 4 doesn't work. 98 divided by 5 doesn't work. 98 divided by 6 doesn't work. 98 divided by 7 is 14. Oh, look. That has a sum of 21. So the numbers are 7, 14. All right, question number 13 says match the inequality y is greater than x minus 5 with one of the graphs. Well, first of all, there's no equal to, so all the lines should be dotted, and they are. All right. Second thing is greater than. When you read that, you read left to right. Greater is above. So this graph is shaded above. This graph is shaded above. This one's below. This one's below. And we're looking for, it's already in y equals mx plus b form. So in our problem, I'm sorry, my dog's eating something off the floor again. My slope is 1 because there's a 1 in front of x. And the y-intercept is negative 5. So you will notice on graph A, it has a negative slope. So that is not it. So the answer has to be this. And if we check it, look, there's a y-intercept of negative 5. And it looks like it goes up 1 over 1. All right? So D is the correct answer. All right, number 14. Says match the inequality with one of the graphs. First thing I notice is there is no equal to on this inequality, so we should have no solid lines. Now we got a 50-50 shot. So you have to solve for y, though. This one is not solved for y. So to solve for y, you're going to minus x and minus x. So you get y is greater than negative x plus 8. Remember, greater than means you're shading above. If somebody's greater than you, they're above you. So the only answer here is B. And I think it's a drop-down menu on that one. Make sure, oh, they like to do junk like this on there. They like to put the A, B, C, D out of order. So make sure you're selecting B, not just the second choice. All right. Question number 15. Question 15 says, sketch the graph of the solution set to the following linear inequality in the rectangular coordinate system. They could have just said graph that, but anyway, I'm going to use the intercept method on this. The intercept is when you look for x, you let y be 0. So if you let y be 0, you get x equals 10. That's the x-intercept of the graph. And if you look for y and let x be 0, you got 0 plus y equals 10. All right, and I know some of you are thinking, but it doesn't equal. That has to do with the shading, all right? So we got 10, 0, and 0, 10 as our ordered pairs, and it's going to be a dotted line. All right, what an awesome dotted line that was. Now, you do sort of need to solve for y to know if it's greater than or equal to, and this one's still going to be greater than because all you got to do is minus x on both sides. But if you had like a negative 2y and you had to divide by a negative, remember you would have to flip the script. If that didn't come up on your practice test, you're probably not going to do it on the real test. So here we have greater than, so we would shade above. Okay, question number 16 says graph, and it's just y equals a number. Well, anytime you have y equals a number, it's going to be a horizontal line. So what you're going to do is go up to y equals 5, plot your point, and then you just have to have another point when you draw your line. All right? There is an equal to on this one, so it's not a dotted line. It is a solid horizontal line. All right? Now, don't forget you have to shade above or below. It's less than. If somebody's less than you, they're below you, so you shade below. Just fun fact, if it was this, x equals a number is a vertical line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would go on the x-axis to x equals 5, pick another point above it, and make a vertical line. Y equals a number is always horizontal. X equals a number is always vertical. Watch your solid versus your dotted. Watch where you shade. Oh, below here would be less. If x is less than, less would be left, greater than would be to the right. We got question 17 here. It says sketch the graph of the following nonlinear inequalities. So we have a quadratic equation, which makes a parabola. So when you do your tool select the parabola shape. That's a U shape. Whoops, I'm not on pen. A parabola is either going to open up or down. They can go sideways, but I don't think they will in this test. This one's going to open down because your leading coefficient's negative. So let's use our graphing tool. Let me go down here. And let's go to our y equals screen. So if you go to y equals and you clear out whatever you had in there. Clear number 2. All right. Go back up. We got negative 2x squared. And I'm going to hit zoom 6. And there's our parabola opening down. Now in order to graph it, you're going to select the parabola and you're going to plot the first point, which is going to be 0, 0. Now you need another point on the graph, so let's look at our table. Our table, second graph, 0, 0 is a point, and then all you would have to do is drag the cursor to like 1, negative 2, which would be here, and then it automatically, oh, I hate it when it does that, and then it automatically will make your parabola. So 1, negative 2 is here, and the parabola is going to do a little something, something like that. Oh, but this is greater than. So let's back up. It doesn't have an equal to. So you need to make sure you change it to dotted. I don't know how to make this dotted on here. Give me a second. So you click 0, 0, click that. When you make your parabola, we need to change it. Ooh, make sure that goes to that point. All right, so this is the only way I know to make it dotted. That didn't work. I was trying to erase. Oh my gosh. All right. Scratch that. It's dotted, y'all. Act like that never happened. Look up here, Men in Black. Psh, memory erased. All right, so plot your points, connect it. Now, we're going to make it dotted. We do still got to make it dotted because I got a shade. It's greater than, so now always find the vertex and then shade above the vertex, which would be all this would be shaded. That's probably the worst graph I've ever done in my life. And it's recorded. Thank you. Okay, question number 18. We're going to sketch both of these lines and then we're going to shade and all that. So they're both in y equals mx plus b form. On equation, our inequality number 1, our slope is 1 because there's a 1 out in front of the x, and our b, our y-intercept, is negative 4. Now, slope is normally rise over run, so how do you make 1 become a fraction? You just put it over 1. Rise over run. All right, so we're going to go to the point negative 4. B is where you begin. So I'm going to go down to negative 4, And then I'm going to rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1, rise 1, run 1. And actually, I needed a dotted line anyway, so this works out. So there's my first dotted line. Now, that's equation or inequality 1. My second inequality has a slope of -1, or to make that into a fraction, -1 over 1, and a y-intercept of -2. All right, so you would select line, you go down to -2. You're going to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, or up 1, left 1. And that's the second equation. Now you got to decide shading. The first inequality said greater. So this black line, the first line, greater would be above. The second inequality would be less, so that would be below. And then when you do that, you'll notice where the two overlap is this region all over here. It should be a different color when the shadings overlap. And that's question 18. Okay, question number 19 says graph the solution set of the following system of inequalities. I'm going to rewrite these because I need to have the graph up here. The first one is already in y equals, it's already y equals. So I'm going to leave it as is. I need to get a pencil where I can write this down. Y is equal to x squared minus 16. So that's going to be a parabola that's been shifted down 16 and greater than equal to, and then x minus y greater than equal to -4. Sorry, I'm having to write that down for myself because I'm having to slide the screen up. So our first inequality, let me see if I can pull up the calculator again. All right. All right. So my first inequality, turn the calculator on, and it's not working, of course. There we go. I'm going to go to my y equals screen and clear that out. I had x squared minus 16. Now, so if you want two ordered pairs for that, if you want to graph that, zoom 6. It's a parabola opening up that's been shifted down 16. You can't see that on the graphing calculator because that's a 10 by 10 window. I can change it. I don't have time for that. So I'm going to go to second table. So you would select the parabola. And then 0, -16 is where you'd plot a point. And then another point on the graph, we could do 1, -15. I'm going to do 4, because I like that, 4. So here we go. So 0, -16, and then 4, you can drag your point. Now, this was equal to, so your parabola would have been a solid line. All right. Now, my second inequality is not in y equals mx plus b form. So to use the graphing calculator, you're going to need to solve for y. So we're going to subtract x from both sides. And then we got to divide everything by -1. Ding, ding, ding. That means you got to flip the script because you're changing the sign of all the terms, so you change the sign of your inequality. And that gives me y is less than or equal to positive x plus 4. So in this graph, slope is 1 because there's a 1 out in front of x, and if you want to make a fraction, it's 1 over 1, and the y-intercept is 4. Now when I graph this one, I'm going to go up to 4, and then I can go up 1 over 1 like that. This one also is equal to, so it's a solid line. And inequality, the first inequality was y is greater than equal to x squared minus 16. So greater than on that would be greater than the vertex. That would be this direction that you would shade. You would shade inside the parabola because it's greater than the vertex. The second inequality became a less than when I flipped it, so that would be below, so you would shade in between the line and the parabola. Okay, last question. So what you're going to notice is first, you have x is greater than equal to 0, y is greater than equal to 0. So x equals is a vertical line. So on your graphing tool on the Math Excel, you're going to plot 0, 0, and then just go up 1 and then make a line that's vertical. I don't know what that is picking up. Let me try this. There we go. And that's your first inequality right here. Now, greater than that is going to be to the right of that. Just keep that in mind. Your second inequality is y is greater than equal to 0. That's a horizontal line. So I would go to 0, 0, and then I'd go to 1, 0, and I'd make a horizontal line that's solid because of the equal to. That is inequality 2. And it's greater than, so it would be above and above. Now, where are the two shadings overlapping right now? They're overlapping in the first quadrant, to the right of the vertical line and above the horizontal line. Now, it looks like these last two are going to be hard to solve, but we're not going to solve for y. We're going to use the intercept method. So for inequality 3, if I'm looking for the x-intercept, I let y be 0. If y is 0, that goes away. I have 9x equals 72. I can just go ahead and divide by 9, and I get x is less than or equal to 8. Really, I'm just looking for 8. So the x-intercept is 8, comma 0. That's the x-intercept. The y-intercept is the value of y when you let x be 0. So if you said 9 times 0 plus 8 times y, and we just care about the equal to right here, right over there, that's 0. So 8y equals 72. You're going to divide by 8, divide by 8. And we get y equals 9. So that's the ordered pair 0, comma 9. Now you just need 2 points to make a line. So I'm going to make this one red. So 8 zeros here, 0, 9 is here, and it's equal to, so it's doing a little something, something like that. And that is inequality 3. And it's less than, so you would shade below. So right now we have this triangular region. Okay, I got to do this quick. My battery's running low. So inequality 4, if I'm looking for the x-intercept, I let y be 0. So 9 times 0 is 0. So I just have 8x equals 72. Divide by 8, I get 9. If I'm looking for the y-intercept, I let x be 0. So 8 times 0 is 0. So I have 9y equals 72. And divide by 9, I get 8. So the x is 0, y is 8. So 9 zeros here, 0 8's here. Connect the lines. That's your fourth graph, and it's this. It's less than, so that shaded region that's below all of them is the correct answer. All right, let me look at that. 8 0, 0 9, 9 0. 08. Looks good to me. Good luck on y'all's test. Study hard. Wish the best to you.